Kids, welcome back. It's December 17th, 2013. I have not done a video or a vlog for over 4 months, and it's overdue. So I just wanted to give you a reason why I stopped doing vlogs in the first place, and that simply was because I had a doctor, that some kind of quack, that put me on this drug called Risperol, and it put me in a hyper manic state, which actually led to some very nice adventures. I finally booked that trip to Yap after 28 years and lived that dream. I also booked a lot of great shows and had a great summer. And 2013 has turned out to be a remarkable year. This is the year I actually finished the last item on my bucket list. Actually, the last several items on my bucket list. So let me go into what's been going on, and I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of my last 4 months. First of all, Risperol. It is nefarious, horrible psych drug that again made me hyper manic. The problem was when they took me off of it, nothing replaced it. There's nothing that can replace that euphoria and that ultimate high. So it kind of put me in a very low, depressed kind of place where I didn't really feel a lot like interacting like I used to on a regular basis, particularly on video. So I stopped doing vlogs, and the ideas that I had, or things that were pissing me off, or things I was interested in that I normally share on YouTube and on Facebook, I just stopped doing altogether. I would make a comment here or there, but I basically couldn't be bothered. So that's why I stopped. So please don't think it was anything else. And I'll probably be back to doing my regular vlogs and also my issue-based videos because I enjoy doing them. It brings a more personal touch to the message. Now, what you did miss, in case you haven't been following along, I went on an amazing adventure of shows this summer in which I saw such wonderful people as Billy Idol, which I've always wanted to see live and in person. I saw Margaret Cho. I took Waldo Banks and his wife, Vicky, and we went up to Jacksonville, and we had a remarkable time. Not only did Margaret Cho rock the house in this great historic haunted theater, but Jacksonville's waterfront is happening. It was a fun place. It was definitely an adventure that I will never forget, and I really enjoyed it. Who else did I see? I saw Kathy Griffin with The Gatekeeper. I saw the Pet Shop Boys with The Gatekeeper. They also put on remarkable shows. So that was a lot of fun. In July, I went to California. I saw a lot of my old friends from high school. So you can imagine after all those years, because I'm like, what, 1,000? I finally saw some of my friends from high school. And we had a great luncheon together. Plus, I got to meet my friend Lynn, who was an online Facebook friend. She actually took the time to drive down a couple of hours to have lunch with me at this Mongolian barbecue, and I had missed eating Mongolian barbecue like you had no idea. So that lunch to me was so special on so many levels. And then after that, I had an intimate coffee with a few friends, and I got to hang out with one of my lifelong friends, and actually both of our families were friends. We grew up on Lido Isle. And I'll go ahead and tag his name on the video. His name's Ramsey. We got to hang out for a while, basically a couple of days, and we drank and talked and had a great time, and it was a lot of fun. And before that, I went to Palm Springs, and I got to see one of my fellow football team members, Jerry Piaskowski. We had a wonderful time. We drank, hung out, and I got to meet another one of my Facebook friends that I never met before, Radar Arnie, and he was just remarkable. He took me out to a very nice Mexican meal, and it was so nice to be taken out because normally people don't take me out. I usually take them out. So this was kind of a surprise and refreshing, and it really touched my heart in a special way. And Radar is a wonderful person. I know there's a lot of people out there that know him online, but in person, he is just such a great guy. I also saw one of my old roommates, Caesar, and that was nice. We went to the In-N-Out Burger right by LAX on my last night right before I left to come back to Florida, and that's where the planes land, and it's a very famous plane spotting site. And as most of you know, I am an airline junkie and an airplane junkie, and I have been since the age of 2. So that was really, really cool. That was like one of the highlights of my trip, was getting to sit at that In-N-Out Burger and watch all those planes come by. I shared some things online, some service things and stuff, and I also became addicted to TripAdvisor. So if you're ever on TripAdvisor, I'm not like a senior contributor. I write about absolutely everything on TripAdvisor. I also wrote recently on Cruise Critic about my drag queen cruise, but we'll get to that in a second. So after my trip, my multiple trips and shows, then I went on my trip of a lifetime, which I have been wanting to go and waiting to go for 28 years. And that was my trip to Yap. And for those of you who don't know where Yap is in Micronesia. And Micronesia is southwest of Guam, east of the Philippines, in the Western Pacific. And it's a small, tiny island. It's absolutely beautiful. I had a better time than even I anticipated. Something has been calling me to go there for 28 years, and I went at just the perfect moment. The weather was beautiful. The hotel was absolutely fantastic. The service was top-notch. I met a great massage therapist named Ian Langris there, and I met a great buddy online and in person, and her name is Mary Gibson, and she travels the world and is probably one of the world's most interesting people. And if you get a chance to friend and get to know Mary, she has stories from all over the world, and you can learn so much from Mary. And the first time I laid eyes on Mary, we were both sitting for hours in the United Club in Guam, waiting for this really late night flight to Yap. And I was muscling down these spicy Bloody Marys, and she was muscling down the gin and tonics. And we sat a couple tables across from each other and kept an eye on each other. And when we got on the plane, she was in the first row of first class, and I was right behind her in the second row of first class. It was the same thing on the way out. We were kind of inseparable till we got to Guam at the end. And that plane that we nearly crash landed in Yap was in the maintenance hangar, and I pointed that out to Mary, but we both had a great laugh over that. Right before I left for Yap, though, a couple of very important things happened in my life. Now, about a year ago, I paid off my car, which was a huge thing, because nobody likes a car bill. Insurance is expensive enough in Florida. Nobody wants a car payment. So that was already done. So one of the things on my bucket list was also paying off my house. So before I left for Yap, I finally had the opportunity to pay off my house free and clear. I had cash in the bank. I have no credit card debt. So, totally clean. Last thing on the bucket list, Yap. But right before I left for Yap, I was talking with one of my good friends who I actually consider family. Some people know him as Dakota Mo, and a lot of my friends on Facebook know him as Misty Eyes. And Misty Eyes was going on this drag queen cruise, and one of the few non-RuPaul drag queens that have been invited now twice in a row, which is a huge honor, and was leading the group. And to lend support to my family member, Misty, who I've known for a very long time, I went on the cruise, and I had a great time. I met a lot of wonderful people. My table mates at dinner were absolutely fantastic. Toronto Harris, Grande, what can I say? And Tony, you guys were the best. And we had so many fun moments and shady moments and laughter moments and everything else you can imagine. Misty was an awesome leader for my group, and Team Lashes rocked it. We had a wonderful time. And I got to meet all the queens, and a lot of people think that these queens are not approachable, and some aren't as approachable as others. But I do want to give a special shout out to a couple of my very favorite queens, which I know, but not deeply personally. They're just acquaintances so far, but I'm working on friendships. One of them is Michael, or you better know him as Pandora Box. And after reintroducing myself, where I had met Michael a couple of years ago at a charity event all weekend, after retelling a story about a Sunday brunch, which I will never be able to look at cheesecake again ever without thinking of him. The spark of memory, came back, because he meets thousands of people a year, and frankly, I'm not that memorable. I'm kind of wallpaper most of the time. And the other person that was really, really sweet and sat next to me during the show and was always very kind and very down to earth, and this is hard because this particular individual not only is a fierce drag queen, but also is a very attractive boy and gets flirted with constantly on both levels, and he just gets sucked with praise, and he actually keeps it down, grounded, and he's really authentic. And his professional name is Jade Sotomayor, and he really, really, really was a great guy. And I enjoyed meeting him and chatting with him on several occasions during the cruise. Now, we had some great cruise members, and we had some nasty cruise members. So let me tell you about MSC Cruises. Careful, kids. Now, the Divinia is now based out of Miami and does Western Caribbean cruises. If you like very large cruise ships that are massive, this ship is massive. It is kept spotlessly clean. It has some very unique features to it, so I have to give it its props. Now, if you tip the cabin steward the first day and the third day and the day before you leave, you get excellent service. But you have to learn how to tip. That's the key to getting through MSC. And then you find and connect, and you do this either like I do psychically with energy, or somehow you connect and you find 3 or 4 bartenders at different bars, because the bartenders constantly mix around. And particularly with parties, you never know where they're going to be. So you always want to get not just 1, but 3 or 4 bartenders under your hand. In other words, make it rain on them very early and very often until they remember your face and they know that they're going to get paid. And trust me, you can reach over 4 people deep and they'll drop whatever they're doing and serve you a drink. So I didn't have a service problem with MSC like a lot of people did. Now, the waiters in the dining room were a little cold until they got $5. They still weren't great, but they finally warmed up at the end, I have to say. But the dinner captain, he was on me on the first night, and he was really great about taking care of my special diet, making sure that I was happy with my food, because I had said that I was diabetic and kind of picky on things I would and would not eat. So he made sure that everything was perfect every night for me. So I have to give them props on that too. Now, generally though, the food was miserable. And they have this buffet that's like 9 million miles long, and it has thousands of things. I have never spit so much food back out on a plate as I did that whole week. I think I found 2 items on that whole buffet that I could actually swallow, besides garlic bread, which I'm not supposed to be eating anyway because it's bread. But I had little pieces of garlic bread, which were actually kind of tasty. And they did have a curried fish that was actually pretty good. And that's about the only 2 things I could actually stomach on that whole buffet thing. So if they didn't have it for breakfast or lunch, I just waited till dinner. I literally did not eat. It was just that awful. It was hosted by Alan Chuck Travel, and Sheila from Alan Chuck Travel does a wonderful job. So if you're doing an Alan Chuck adventure, I would suggest booking with Sheila. She's very professional, she's prompt, she gets her stuff done, she follows up, not a problem. I did have some problems with the Alan Chuck Travel staff. I was not particularly pleased with some of the, I had 20% of my contact with Alan Chuck live in person with their representatives was very positive. The other 80%, not so much. And some of it was just downright inhumane. So not quite a big fan yet, wrote in a complaint, waiting to hear what they have to say. So far, though, really on the fence with that. Came back, and from that cruise, just like a week ago, and a week and a couple of days ago, and I came back with a slight back twinge because MSC forgot to do my wake-up call on the day of embarkation, so I got up really late, and I had to catch a train. And I wanted to have breakfast with my best friend before the train. And I would have had time had they done my wake-up call, but they didn't. So I started to rush, and I had very heavy suitcases, and I was like ramming them through people, twisting in all kinds of odd ways, trying to get to the curbside to find my best friend so he could rush me to the train so I could get home. And unfortunately, I kind of wrenched my back in the process. And it wasn't that painful when I got home, but as the week went on and I had to sweep the pool and all the other fun stuff you do when you're gone and not doing your chores, the back got worse and worse until last Friday. So some of you that have been following me recently should know that last Friday I went to a chiropractor who I'd never been to before. Now, the last time I had back pain was 2005, and it was December 2005 specifically. And after 2 Zap and Snap sessions, I was completely pain-free. And I had no problem ever since. And I've lifted tons of stuff since then, because I used to work as a yard waste collector for a trash truck company. So literally, I used to lift 16 tons of yard waste a day, 6 days a week. So my back's never been a real problem for me. But by Friday, my back had become more and more irritated. So I decided to cut it off at the pass and go to this chiropractor, who took my back pain and made it 1,000 times worse, like on steroids, and then lit it on fire with rocket fuel. So I spent all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, praying, screaming at the top of my lungs for someone to kill me. I had uncontrollable shaking, tears pouring down my face. I wanted to die so bad, you have no idea. Now, one of the things that happens, which I just learned recently, when I'm under a lot of stress, and super back pain is a lot of stress, it shuts down my paranormal visions a lot, but it opens up my schizophrenic visions, which are nonsensical. It's a weird shift in paradigm. So instead of seeing the normal and the paranormal, I was seeing more of the normal and the abnormal. And the abnormal to me is just like this ridiculous waste of time. And now that I can tell the difference between that and also my sleep mode, and I'm able to decipher all 4 of my realities, I had not seen, I see every day something from the abnormal, but suddenly the abnormal became very normal for me, which was annoying because I don't like my abnormal state. And it's like nonsensical crap. So I was so happy on Monday. I went back to the chiropractor. I scared him to death. He gave me this fabulous like girdle thing to wear, and it's so tight I feel like Scarlett O'Hara. But I do have a beautiful waistline now and hips, because it takes like 2 people to tug on it and make it tight, and it takes the pain away. But he couldn't see me anymore because he'd caused such damage and such swelling that I had to go to my doctor. And my doctor normally does surgeries on Mondays, so I had to go see the nurse practitioner. And I only see my doctor because I'm one of his special, most complicated cases. And he's shared with me that he has 3 of us that are very complicated. And I have a long list of different kinds of drugs I take for different kinds of things. So you have to be very careful when you medicate me or change my medication, because I'm very sensitive to those things. So when I went down and I talked to the nurse practitioner, frankly, I scared the shit out of her because I also was at the time having like one of those abnormal schizophrenic moments, and I kept saying, I keep seeing blackbirds flying through the office and in this room, and there's no blackbirds here. And obviously there was no blackbirds, and I knew it was just ridiculous, and I knew it was a figment of my imagination. But because I was in so much pain and under stress, I just blurt the truth out. And that can scare people sometimes if they're not used to me. Um, my honesty and my bluntness and my entirely zero desire to edit can be either really entertaining if you take it right, or you can be really off-putting. And I scared this woman to death. So she couldn't do anything for me until she consulted the doctor after he got out of surgery. And I said, well, once you tell my doctor who it is, he'll understand. He'll know exactly what to get for me. Not a problem, I'll wait. Sure enough, as soon as I contacted the doctor, he phoned in all my meds. They finally came in. Now I'm feeling great again. And, no pain. I've gone through the day, able to move again. I'm able to stand up without help. But for the whole weekend, I was totally helpless. So that's kind of my 4 months in a nutshell. And I know it's a little over 20 minutes. So I hope that you packed popcorn and your favorite beverage to watch my new vlog. I'll try to keep them shorter in the future. But after 4 months, I figured you needed a little catch up. Oh, and by the way, I got the ultimate souvenir from Yap. I got myself a brand new tattoo that was done in Yap by a Japanese tattoo artist who was absolutely amazing. And it healed so quickly. It healed faster than the last tattoo I got in the States. So he had a very clean office, and I was very, very impressed by him. One last quick thing. If you're planning on going on the drag queen cruise to Europe, Jade Sotomayor really wants you to follow him. I highly recommend you sign up with Jade. And I'm also trying at some point, for those of you that are interested, I would love to take a group back to Yap. And what we would need is between 10, a minimum of 10, 8 to 10 people as a minimum to get a decent discount. And we up to 81 people. The hotel can hold maximum capacity of 81 people. So we could basically own the hotel with 81 people. I'd be happy to set that up. I used to be a travel agent way back in the day, and I worked in the travel industry for over 18 years. So if anybody was interested, hit me up. I'd love to show you guys Yap and show you the best of what Yap can truly be from somebody that's been there at least once. Because when you go there the first time, you really don't know what to expect. So that's all for now. Hope you have a happy holiday season, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you before Christmas. Have a good one.